most important thing about this new race, the Supreme Cup, is the acquisition of a sponsor such as SAP. We all know sponsors are not easy to come by, but to land one like SAP is a huge coup for the racing industry here.
I agree, Andrew, and we're so grateful to SAP for coming on board. And I think for the inaugural running of the SAP Supreme Cup, I think we've got a fantastic field. I think it bears testimony to the build-up over the years of sand racing, and it is the swan song for sand, as we know, but there are plans in the pipeline that will follow, obviously. But certainly we wish them all the best for this year's event. We hope the weather holds and plays ball, which on the long-range forecast looks promising. So we wish them everything the best for Saturday, and I'm sure it'll go fantastically well.
Now, the question in this year's race is those who have run on sand and those who haven't, those who have good draws and those who don't. And let's start off with the three horses that are relatively unknown on sand, two of them completely untried in Ultimate Dollar and of course Willow Magic, the Dingaan's winner. Two high class individuals. Willow Magic would appear to be the right horse on paper for me.
Yes, there's no doubt if he goes on the sand, he's the right horse. He brings Group 1 form to the race, having run second to Legislate in the Gold Challenge at Greyville. So he represents the best form, and as I say, if he takes the sand, I agree, no race, distance suited, he's a sprinter miler.
The interesting thing about Willow Magic is the fact that he's by Dubawi, and we all know that Mubtahij took to the sand like a duck to water. I'm not saying it always happens that way, but it's probable that it will.
Yes, I agree with that, and obviously Dubawi's side, Dubai Millennium, we all know went on the dirt very well, so certainly in the pedigree he's got every chance of going on the sand.
And in fact, I think the winner of the Dubai World Cup this last year, Prince Bishop, was also by Dubawi.
He was indeed. Dubawi's a fantastic stallion and has influence on both turf and dirt around the world, so an amazing stallion.
Okay, now I had a chat to Justin Snaith this morning, who's not in Gauteng just yet. He will be on Thursday. But he has evidently taken Ultimate Dollar to the Vaal for a 600-meter test, and he was very happy with the way he moved.
Yes, look, he's another interesting one. He's the other horse that hasn't been on the sand at all before in terms of racing conditions. His form is certainly good enough, but I would suggest he needs a bit further than 1450 to be fully effective. And for my money, look, I don't want to tell Justin his game, but for my money, this just could be something to bring him on for the forthcoming turf season over a bit further. Would be that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think he's willing to concede that may well be the plan of action. But what better way to test a horse on the high veld than a quality Group 2 race that's worth R1 million?
Yes, nice prep race.
And then, of course, Deputy Judd. He's a son of Judd Pot. He's a horse that has high-class ability. He's been on the sand. We know he won his maiden on the sand. And Michael, as he's no mug.
Certainly no mug. He's no stranger to running well in the Emerald Cup. And Deputy Judd obviously is another who needs a bit further to be fully effective on the turf. But he did win very well on his only start on the sand, so you've got to respect him. Michael, I think he's joked about the pylon situation where pylon had to lug a train around into second place a few years ago. And I think he's brought him into this race very handily weighted.
I think the issue with Deputy Judd is the fact that he'll be fresh. So if it is a little bit short for him, he'll be sharper than he would have been in peak season at the end of last year.
Yes, I'd agree with that, and I do put him in with a big chance for the Aussie yard. I do.
Andrew, this is my main reason for not running him, because he's been running over the 2000s, the 24s, and the 1800s. I said he needs to be fresh. It's the only chance he's going to have of running a good race is to have him fresh in this race. So it was deliberate that I didn't run him anywhere else. It was my intention not to run him. I'll bring him into the race fresh. His whole work pattern's changed. I did a similar thing with Pylon, because Pylon's an 1800-meter miler, and when we prepared Pylon for this race, I took him right out of his work, put him on the beach track, and I never ever worked more than 600 meters on the beach track because I had to sharpen him up. And that's all we've done with this guy. All we've done, sharpen up, give him one grass gallop up the straight. Gave him a good blow the other day. And he's really looking good.
Precursor's a horse that, in my opinion, is probably not going to get the trip. But Dominic Zaki's not putting him in for the Eustace for practice.
Certainly, and he jumps from a great draw, so he's going to have every chance from there. But I share your view. I suspect he's better over 1012, but who knows? His only attempt, I think, beyond 1200 was on the turf in the Guineas as a 3-year-old, where he patently didn't stay, it seemed. But obviously 1450 is a bit older now, back on the sand, and he's proven on the sand. So, we've got to respect Dominic's view on it.
Respecting views are all well and good, but there's one man that doesn't want to know about defeat. He's not interested in the draw, Stephen Moffat, for the Miskin family.
Well, I make him, he's probably my first choice in spite of the draw. He's so lightly raced. He just seems to be progressing hand over fist, literally, and his win in the August Stakes was super impressive. And there's no doubt the 1450 is going to be fine for him. It's just the draw. He needs a bit of luck in running.
Roman Carnival hits the front with 200 to go. Down the inside is Ispan, doing it for Dan. Behind that, Muta Hardy and Jade Vine, but it's Roman Carnival in the colours of Brian Miskin. And here is Roman Carnival, who goes on to win the August Stakes by 4. Ispan second.
What sticks out for you as a hard-knocking, solid sand horse? Maybe we should start with Mike de Kock's Toro Rosso, who also has a bad draw and will jump from the widest gate of all.
Yes, I think Mike's two have both in with big chances. They're both proven on the sand. Toro Rosso, obviously the draw is a huge concern, but he's very lightly raced and hugely progressive, so he could be anything coming in with a lightweight of 52. But certainly only Matthew will know, or Michael will know, which of the two is the right one. Jockey arrangements are interesting, to say the least. But for me, the real sneak in the pack could be a horse who's slightly out at the weights, right at the bottom of the weights. Alec Laird's Solo Triptych. He's proven on the sand. Alec has mentioned him to me some time ago as this as being the sort of race he would like to target him for. And he snuck into the race ahead of some horses rated a bit higher. The handicappers took the view, and I think rightly so, that there were a few horses rated higher than him currently, but they're perhaps on the downgrade rather than the upgrade, whereas this horse could be on the upgrade. And I think, in spite of being slightly out at the weights, I make him a big runner with just 50 on his back.
200 meters out, all the bids has got a slight advantage over on the inside of that one. It was Solar Triptych, but Solar Triptych is quickening up visibly, as well as Maznoon on the inside of runners. Maznoon coming after them. It's now Maznoon who goes on by, and Maznoon will win from back in second. Solar Triptych.
You know, Paddy, I've been down at the Vaal for 3 or 4 meetings in a row, doing nothing but trying to get good footage from different vantage points. And the one thing that struck me about this Vaal is the incredible military operation that is required to get every single race back to the sort of state of the art that you're expecting from a good course. And huge machinery, lots and lots of water. And I'm sure that given the fact that sand racing is coming to an end, that the staff on hand will do everything possible to give every single race the very best surface that money can buy.
Well, there's no doubt, Andrew. I mean, they do that every time, but certainly with a 10-race card, we need to watch and make sure that we do get enough water on during racing if it's needed. We do pour an awful lot of water onto the track in building up the track and compacting it and preparing it for racing. And obviously, we'll certainly try and get a run through just before the main race as well, to get a water tank around there as well, should conditions require it. But we leave that to the judgment of the track managers, and I can assure you they know what they're doing with Stan Diesel at the helm there.
So there's no truth in the rumour that the Vaal River drops at least a foot on Vaal race days.
Could well be.
Strike that from the record. A horse that strikes me as being very interesting is Michael Azzey's other horse, Isfan.
Yes, he brings some decent sprinting form to the table. To me, he also needs to prove that he gets the trip truly. I think his better form has been over a bit shorter, but he must be a runner. He's run well on the sand before, and you know, Michael's got to be respected on the Vaal sand. He's done very well on the surface. But we've talked about more than half the field here, and it just shows you the sort of race it is, Andrew. It's wide open, question marks about all sorts of horses. Will they go on the sand? Won't they? Bad draws, good draws, distance suitability. It's just a fascinating contest, and it's a great betting race, I'm sure.
And here is Roman Carnival, who goes on to win the August Stakes by 4. Ispan second, doing it for Dan runs third.